Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this third Insight webinar hosted by Enersize. This is a webinar series focused on energy optimization of industrial compressed air, but we will also touch on other related topics and trends. With these webinars, we want to build awareness on the energy savings available in compressed air systems and share experience on how to reach these untapped potentials. And instead, build and make a profitable contribution to the bottom line result, long-term sustainability, and an improved environment. There is a growing focus on sustainability topics, and initiatives like the Paris Agreement, the United Nations Agenda 2030, and also the recent COP26 are making an impact. I would say the time is now. There has never been a better time to address energy optimization of industrial compressed air. But before we look at today's agenda, I want to start in a slightly different angle. Already in 1776, Adam Smith published Wealth of Nations. And this is seen as one of the most influential books written on capitalism, and it famously described what would be one of the central drivers of economic progress for centuries to come: the division of labor, to specialize. Much of the prosperity our world now enjoys actually comes from the productivity gains of dividing work into smaller tasks that are performed by even more specialized workers. Today, thanks to the rise of knowledge work and communications technology, this subdivision of labor has advanced even further. We are entering an era of hyper-specialization, where companies as well as people are specializing to a degree not seen before, and where collaboration and integration between specialized pieces are building the bigger picture. You can say that the fact that Enersize is specializing on understanding the behavior of compressed air, which is quite nerdy in itself, I must say, makes it possible for us to gather experts in this space, turn their expertise and knowledge into software support and solutions that in its turn can serve a broad audience with decision support to deliver continuous improvement to the topic of energy optimization of industrial compressed air. We will look at some examples on how this is impacting our work, our partners, and our surrounding. But now let's look at today's agenda. Well, after this introduction, I will hand over to two experts on compressed air, but they are also experts on software development. It is our own CEO, Dr. Anders Sjögren, and our partner and one of the world's most known experts of compressed air and pneumatics, Dr. Elvira Rakova, who works in Italy together with some of the main machine builders serving the global manufacturing industry. Together with Anders and Elvira, we will discuss how data capture, advanced visualization, and analysis can be used to build decision support for the office of the CXO. We will also today meet our team lead from Research and Development, Rebecca Rubio Lopez, that together with our CEO will be looking at the roadmap and where we are investing from a product development perspective. Finally, we will be launching the new Enersize Academy, and it's Johannes Olsson, who is the head of Enersize Academy, who will be handling this launch. We are there celebrating that it's now fully available online, And after this, well, then we are looking at sharing some of the upcoming activities before we end today's session. So the program is full, and I will now have the joy of introducing a couple of true thought leaders and experts on compressed air. Our own Dr. Anders Sjögren and our dear friend and colleague, Dr. Elvira Rakova. The topic of today's session will be top floor, shop floor, utilizing expertise, advanced visualization and analysis to build decision support for the office of the CXO. So I let Anders Sjögren introduce us to this topic. Anders, please take over. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Anders. I'm so happy to be here. As the CEO of Enersize, I will of course focus on compressed air in my presentation, but also give you some insights into the complexity of the digital environment in which Enersize is working. I love compressed air. For me, it's powerful. It can move mountains, but it's also clean, can be used in explosive environments. It even saves lives in hospitals. What's not to love about it? But is it really used the best possible way? Or is it wasted somehow? What better to start with than Energize's vision? A sustainable world. Optimizing compressed air does improve our climate. In 2015, United Nations Agenda 2030 defined 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Goal number 7 includes the ambition to, by 2030, double the global rate of improvement in energy efficiency. This goal speaks for itself. So let's look at the situation in Europe. In Europe alone, more than 80 terawatt hours of energy is used for generating compressed air. And according to research, almost 50% of this energy is lost. The potential for saving is extreme. If we could save all that energy that is lost, it would equal around 8 nuclear power plants. Just think about the potential for the whole world. With today's energy shortage, we need to address these savings now. But does that then mean that everyone has to become expert on compressed air? No, not at all. Energize has packaged this kind of expertise into tools and solutions to make it possible for organizations around the world to address the energy savings available in industrial compressed air. And in Energize, we've shaped the ambition to become the global champion of compressed air efficiency software. And what we do, it's built into the cloud. So there is no limitation on the scalability of our solution. Everyone gets served. So what are the potentials that we're chasing? Is it just energy savings? No, in fact, the more we know about compressed air, the more we will be able to impact also other areas. In almost all plants, compressed air is used to run production processes. If the supply of compressed air is unstable or it does not meet the quality requirements, scrapping or even unplanned production stops might be the consequence. And I can give you an example. I was in a conversation with a textile manufacturer in India. After optimizing their compressed air system, they also realized that the more stable air pressure resulted in less thread breaks during weaving of fabrics. The quality of the textile was increased, and the manufacturer could sell it at a higher price. So no matter if you are the CFO, plant manager, sustainability manager, or maintenance manager, there is ample motivation to have as good insight into your compressed air system as you have in any of your production processes. And by the way, did you know that compressed air is the most expensive energy source that you are using? So what are you waiting for? At Energize, we care only about creating and maintaining energy-efficient compressed air systems. That's why we are good at it. We monitor signals relevant for compressed air, we analyze them, we generate KPIs and reports relevant for decision makers. But even for us focusing so much, there are opportunities for other experts to become part of our ecosystem and contribute with customer value. Did you think compressed air is simple? It is not. So why would you try to reinvent the wheel and try to fix your compressed air system on your own? Through Enersize and our partners, you get access to international expertise. The digital landscape Enersize is operating in has become quite complex over the years. We refer to this as top floor and shop floor. Information is integrated, consolidated from the shop floor's operational technology that is running the production to the top floor's informational technology that is used to take decisions. Everything around us is getting more specialized. I mean, 200 years ago, you could get well educated in all the sciences. And then 100 years ago, you could choose to learn about physics. And these days, you can become expert on compressed air. And similarly, the industry also requires more specialized solutions. And it's very hard for a single supplier to cover all of these areas of expertise. Good is not enough. You need to be expert. That's why we're starting to see more and more digital platform solutions that incorporate highly specialized services from sub-suppliers. So it's easy to understand that Energize cloud solutions are part of a much larger infrastructure. Digitalization of industry is paving the way for interoperability, for different systems to communicate. That's why open standards are so important. Open standards guarantee that systems speak the same language. I want to show you a concrete example of how information needs to flow between stakeholders in order to energy optimize a compressed air system. And this is Energize home turf, so it's essential that we understand who are the stakeholders, what are their goals, so we can develop services and solutions that has customer value. We can start with the customer. Imagine a plant where the manager faces a problem. He needs to save energy and reduce cost at the same time. Is that even possible? Yes. So he turns to Energize and our partners to address potentials in the compressed air system. We are dependent on technicians to perform various energy-saving actions in the compressed air system, and the technician starts by collecting information about the compressed air system. Energize compressed air services in the cloud is used by compressed air experts to get insight into the plant's compressed air system, based on information collected by the technician. In the back end, researchers are diving into the data from the plant's compressed air system, utilizing machine learning to automate the process of generating decision support. All stakeholders share the same objective, but how can we make them work together? Energize is building tools that makes it possible for these people to contribute. I will talk more about the new architecture later in this webinar, but for now, let's just say that we're using state-of-the-art technology to accomplish this goal. At Energize, we're building a system in the cloud that will offer opportunity for us to cooperate with other experts in compressed air. And today, I have with me a true expert on compressed air. Welcome, Elvira Rakova. I know you're also an entrepreneur and that you're developing solutions for energy optimization of compressed air. So please tell me more about your work and your challenges, Elvira.
Yes, hi Anders. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm really happy to be on board with the Enersize to reduce energy consumption of compressed air. I just actually want to add a couple of words, also thoughts about how important the optimization is for all stakeholders inside the company, and actually how the software can help to speak them the same language. So let's just see what we can achieve by reducing energy consumption. Of course, obviously we have cost reduction, but it's related not only to energy cost, we also have downtime cost reduction and the maintenance cost. So this is a very big part that I'm sure that the CFO and CEO of the company would be really interested in. Of course, we also have the product quality and capacity. Sometimes it can be hard to quantify, but we actually can achieve a really nice reduction of defective products. We also can increase capacity. So let's say there is a concrete example of the reduction of defective products. such as related to the air quality. In pet and in food beverage, the air quality is very important, and each small piece of dust can really ruin a lot of products, unfortunately. We need to monitor it. The second thing is, of course, the product capacity. So in the product capacity, by optimizing the pneumatic system, compressed air system of the machine itself, there are also really good use cases where we could see that machine worked faster. Up to 25% it could produce more pieces. So I'm sure that operator and maintenance manager are really happy there. We could never forget, and we shouldn't forget about the environmental aspects. Nowadays, we have a higher eco design standard that actually evaluate how much energy is used for one piece of product. And in this case, this KPI is also very important for the maintenance manager. But now we just had the energy manager and also the operator. What about safety? I mean, safety is a very important factor for compressed air, especially in the blow-in application. By reducing the energy consumption, we can usually reduce the noise. And this is the high noise is very, very harmful for the work environment and for workers, also for the operators. We also have the increase in safety measures for the operators. For example, there are some things like blowing the wood chips in the wood industry, and we need to be sure that the operators will not get any eye injuries. And this is responsibility of the safety manager. And of course, environment. In each factory, almost each, and I hope very soon each factory will have the environment manager and engineer who has to take care about the CO2 impact of the production. And the reduction of energy consumption of compressed air line results in the direct reduction of the CO2 impact. So as you can see, we have here really different stakeholders within one production. And I think together with the Enersize, we can actually develop the platform, the tools where those people can see what are benefits on reducing the energy consumption. And these benefits, it actually can remove these misunderstandings and can save so much time in their meeting where they need to understand, is it a sacrifice reducing energy consumption right now for me to work on the compressed air, how it's going to impact my product quality, how it's going to impact my product capacity, are there any issues in the safety and security for my workers, what is the environmental aspect there, and evaluation of those various benefits is very important. And I think actually that the software can help people a lot to understand each other. Of course, on the bigger level, if we see the company working all together and understanding in the perfect picture, we can achieve the high value proposition. So we can offer, or company can offer a safe and a safer, high quality work environment, and also high production capacity, lower carbon products, and improved product quality and consistency. And also reduce risks, and the risks of injury, for example, risks of non-compliance with noise ordinance, and risk of the reduction of the reduction of climate risk. And I think the most important thing is it's actually not software, hardware, it's really this human part where we can help people to remove confusion by providing them not a big data analysis, rather than a smart data where they can have an actual action. So the operator will understand when he needs to change components, pneumatic component, for example, a filter or a cylinder, when he has to order this. So his production will be on top performance every single day. And for example, the energy manager can see what is the most expensive hours for the energy consumption and how exactly he has to run the compressor there. And I think removing the confusion in the compressed air and helping people, providing those tools, can really make their work much, much easier. And I think this should be our goal.
Okay, thank you so much, Elvira. It was a truly interesting presentation, and I think you're both illustrating the benefit of specializing and with that delivering value based on true expertise. But I would like to start going back a bit to what Anders talked about with the Agenda 2030 and the fact that within a fairly limited number of years, the world should be much more energy efficient. And I would like to discuss this with you because in compressed air, there seems to be an untapped and quite big potential for energy efficiency and energy savings. But is there anyone that gets rewarded if we manage to save this energy? What is your experience, Elvira? You work close to the industry in the Italian landscape.
Yes. Thank you, Anders. I mean, obvious KPI of the energy consumption reduction, the most important is for the energy manager. So, but as you know, middle companies and also small companies, they don't have an energy manager. So we usually have maintenance, safety, and then we have CEO and CFO. So they actually can afford it. And in those companies, no one gets rewarded for that. And I think this is a little bit a missed link there, because the energy consumption in some, I'm talking about middle and small companies, is not directly linked to the process. So operator wants to keep his process at any cost. This is very important thing, that the company produce as many pieces as possible per hour. And sometimes the energy consumption reduction means equal the same as the sacrifice. And usually those kind of companies, they come rather with the problem that there is not enough compressed air, than that they want to reduce the energy consumption. But we really hope for the bigger companies, and I think maybe you have more experience actually in that. So Anders can comment on this. Some better cases there.
Yeah, Anders, do you have a point of view? Because it seems like you say, Elvira, that no one is really rewarded, and that means it's very hard to get someone to engage. If you look at bigger companies, Anders, would you say that the situation is better there, or is it as hard there to get someone to really care about the energy optimization?
Well, I think it varies a lot actually, but we see examples of larger organizations that invoice out the energy cost for compressed air, for instance, and other medias that is used by production. So, and that means that the operators running production, suddenly they are responsible for the consumption that they're using running production. And then it becomes interesting. It becomes like an incentive to work on optimizing energy consumption in all different medias, compressed air included. So I think that's a really good way forward. And it also manages or handles the situation that sometimes, as you said, Elvira, that it's like a burden to do energy efficiency work, because and you might even be afraid that what if the compressed air system is damaged or something stops working? What happens to our production? And so there needs to be some kind of incentive and will from the operators running the production, so they see that there is a benefit in doing this. It's very important.
Yeah, I think it's a bit odd that an industry that is so good at saving and optimizing and even tying all the different costs to products, and if you look at it from an enterprise resource planning perspective, you really tie everything, even the transport costs, to each item to see what you have as a contribution and a margin when delivering. But in this particular case, there seems to be a great upside if you manage to really measure the energy being consumed by compressed air. And as you said in the beginning, I mean, this is equal to 8 nuclear power plants just in Europe. So it's kind of big buck we're talking about. And at the same time, we live in a world that is continuously now looking for ways of reducing waste. So I think reporters in all the world should start writing about this and highlight the fact that here is a true energy gain available that seems to be untapped. And I think the time is now. We have technology making it easier, and we have experts like both of you contributing with different systems. So talking about that, if we look at the fact that you are collaborating, you are coexisting, what about platforms? I mean, there is a super big number of different platforms competing about the the eye and the ear of different decision makers. Is it possible for you to coexist in all of this, or how do you see this? I start with you, Anders, since you seem to talk more about platforms, and I will hand over to you, Elvira. But start with Anders.
Well, yeah, definitely. I would say. I mean, digitalization has come far, and there's a lot of systems out there, but we are very careful to work only with open standards, and in that sense, build a solution that is like a piece of a much larger puzzle that can interact with other kinds of systems, like CMMS systems or ERP systems or what have you that needs this information. But also, as Elvira said before, some information needs to go in the direction of the shop floor and the operators. So there is an integration also that needs to happen, I believe. So for sure, I believe it's possible, but I think this is probably varying a lot in different countries and different industries, how ready they are to start that kind of integration. But for sure, we are doing all we can to enable that.
And Elvira, I understand that you're working very close to the actual production, and you have different products that you are developing that will benefit the operators and the production managers and also the maintenance managers. So how do you work with them? How do you interface the results of your analysis to be decision support for these groups?
Yes, thank you, Anders. Yeah, first of all, I want to say that it's actually, in my point of view, it's essential to work together and to have different puzzles of one piece, because otherwise the result can't be achieved. For the operators and for the machine, I work mostly on the component side and the machine side. And there, energy efficiency is not the goal, it is the result. So, and this is how, by optimizing the various components and actually optimizing the parameters, operation parameters of those components of the pneumatic system, of the distribution system, of compressed air line, can help, as I said before, so it increases the productivity, it reduces the cost, also for example, the acquisition cost, reduces the maintenance cost, and the result of the optimized system is the actually reduced energy consumption. And this KPI or this value can be then transformed further, for example, to the Enersize software, where the energy manager and CFO of the company can see that actually what the operators are doing or energy auditors are doing on the shop floor, how it is also benefits the upper flow production.
That's brilliant. So one final question before we end this. You are both specializing in compressed air, which is a surprisingly interesting area. what do you see is coming your way? Where are you going with your specialization going forward? What areas of interest do you have where you think that we can improve the performance even further as we learn more? So I start with you this time, Elvira.
Yes, thanks, Anders. So, as I said before, my specialization in the component and also the machines, and I'm trying to help component suppliers by gathering them together, also in one software where they don't feel as a competitors, but rather than as a team. Uh, Reduce the energy consumption of that, because we have a lot of problems there. We don't need high-tech technology in pneumatic components. We just need the components to be chosen correctly. So, and this is where we start with to providing tools, to provide really simple calculations or modeling tools where you don't need any expertise for that. Choose a correct application, choose the correct components that don't consume so much energy. And as I said before, energy efficiency there is not the goal, so we don't start there. It's the result of the optimized system. And of course, it's very important to monitor such a component. So we're trying to help the operators to be, let's say, more friendly with the pneumatic components and to help them just with the small, simple alarms, indicate them that they can just remove it and change it, and they have then more time to grab a coffee and chat with with their friends or enjoy life, rather than finding where this mistake, where this problem in my machine is, you know. So it can be very confusing.
Very good. And Anders, you, where do you see Enersize going, and what is happening in your world of compressed air?
Well, maybe I can say first, I mean, that I'm a bit fascinated because, I mean, I've been working with research and development my whole life, and this area is pretty much open because there's not been a lot of focus on this. It's very apparent if you look on what has been done. I think there's a lot of know-how out there, but it's not really applied to the industry. And that means that there are lots of low-hanging fruits that can be done. And what we work with is of course the whole chain from the supply side, where the compressors are generating the compressed air, investigating how leakages are occurring on the demand side, on the pipe system, and even in the machines, and try to give a complete picture of or insight into the compressed air system to the plant manager or to the energy manager, who that may be, on how this is operating. So I feel that what Elvira is doing is complementing extremely well to what we are working with, and can really help the customers to understand how their systems are operating and improve them long term, because this is typically not something you do in a couple of weeks. It's a long-term work and a change of mindset at the customer that needs to happen.
Brilliant. Thank you both of you. And I am convinced that with passionate people like yourself that can move mountains, we will be able to change the way compressed air is being looked upon. So thank you for being here, and let's continue with the next chapter.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So let's look at how Enersize is developing our products to support our partners and customers. I will now be handing over to our team lead at Research and Development, Rebecca Rubio Lopez. Hi, Rebecca. How are you today?
Hi, Anders. I'm fine, thank you. Today, I would like to explain some of the features that we are planning to develop for our customer and partner portal, and what are the effects of that in our users. So in the following slides, I'll talk about how the different users' personas, functionalities, will interact with the portal. And yeah, let's start with the context about the product and why we need it. So the portal is the first part of our three-step process inside the X-ray first step. So to make this first step successful, meaning to get instant insight into the saving potentials and get a detailed action plan, we need first to collect the data of the compressed air system. And you can be asking yourself, why do we need then this portal? Well, the portal will allow us to provide a clear and user-friendly interface to make the collection of the data simple as possible for our users. We have defined three different kinds of users that are going to be able to interact with this portal. So let's see how this tool can help them into this process. Our three main user personas are the customer technician, the partner salesman, and the expert that will review the data and get feedback to our customer technician. Let's see some of their specific functionalities to be able to understand better the portal. And let's start talking about the customer technician. They are usually the users who are in charge to fill in all the details regarding the compressed air system that they manage. We know, based on years of experience from our in-house experts, that this process of the collection of data is often really tricky and sensible. So we aim to make this task as easy as possible for the technician. So we want to provide a software good enough to avoid mistakes and to be as accurate as possible with the collected information, and of course, to be easy to use. And to accomplish that, in our portal, the customer technician will be able to select different units to each property that describe the compressors and when they are filling the data about the compressor system. This functionality will make the portal usable across different countries because we all use different units. For example, to measure the pressure of a compressor in North America, they use a unit called pound per square inches, and here in Europe, we usually use bar unit. So I personally think that this is a really nice feature and a good advantage for the customer technician user, because if they are able to select different units, they don't need to waste time into making calculations or transformations of the data. The portal will do it automatically for them. And in that sense, we also prevent mistakes or wrong information. So let's continue understanding better the expert user persona. And regarding the expert, I will say that one of the key features of the portal is strongly connected with the user persona that we have defined as the expert. The expert will be in charge of verifying the data that the customer technician had filled in the portal. The expert user is somebody with a lot of years of experience analyzing and monitoring different compressor systems around the world, so they can provide valuable feedback and ask questions to the customer technician through the software, through our portal, using, for example, the checkbox that every property will have, or also using the comments fields that we will have in the portal. When the expert has verified that the data collection process was done correctly, then we will have all the information to move forward and get a detailed action plan and to provide energy savings and energy optimization for the compressed air systems of our customers. Let's talk now about the third user persona then, the partner salesman, and how this is connected with the portal. And we have defined also this user persona for our partners. And thanks to an agreement with Enersize, our partners are going to be able to use the portal as their central software for some of their operations. For example, in the future, they will be able to register new users, to create accounts for their partner technicians. They will be able also to monitor the status of this collection of the data process, etc. So we can say that in the future, our portal will be the central point of most of the Energize users' operation. So that's really exciting to be able to develop a product who will fulfill a lot of the needs for our users. And as you see, we have a lot of development to be done in our roadmap, and we will be giving you the updates from the R&D department team in the following webinars. Many thanks, and now I will hand over to you, Anders, again.
Great presentation, Rebecca. Thank you. To measure is to know, said Lord Kelvin already in the 19th century, and this is the fundament of everything we do at Enersize. We are, through measurement and analysis, breaking new ground, and our analysts and researchers are step by step inventing new ways to provide value to our customers in their aim to reduce energy consumption. At Enersize, we have defined 5 investment themes so that you as a partner or customer will know more what to expect from us. Our end-to-end solution in the cloud is getting more aligned with the work that we're doing. And as I've already mentioned, open standards are crucial for interoperability of software. Rebecca talked about user personas and their workflows, and we use those as tools to improve the user experience. And similarly, automation is done to streamline the user workflows. Finally, the software is being developed with localization in mind, so no matter where you're from, you'll be able to read information in your own language. As I mentioned in the last webinar in December, we decided to work with Sigma Industry Solutions to create a standardized IoT solution. We understand that there is a need for a plug-and-play solution that makes it easy to get the compressed air system under control. The measurement data we collect from compressed air systems, such as power, pressure, and flow, they come from sensors on the shop floor. Enersize is focusing on creating value from the data, and Sigma provides us with a new solution to collect the data that we need. I will explain what we do in a slightly different way to make it clearer. The IoT solution we are standardizing on enables communication between, on one hand, the sensors on the shop floor that measure the compressed air system, and on the other hand, Enersize cloud software. Today, I can report on pilots using the IoT solution showing great results, and that will improve all steps from installing, configuring, and maintaining a permanent monitoring system. But most importantly, the new IoT solution provides better insight into compressed air systems, which guarantees for that we can support our customers better. The pilot results are actually even better than I was anticipating. We have increased the data acquisition rate from once per minute to second-based, which means that we can track very fast changes in a compressed air system. Installation cost and complexity has dropped significantly. Our data analysts get around 1,000 times more data to analyze, which improve probability to find issues and to not only find opportunities for energy savings, but also to reduce the risk for unplanned production stops. For our partners who handle the installation of equipment on site, the possibilities to troubleshoot remotely has increased, as we now can do sensor health and configuration checking anywhere in the world. I was talking earlier about that good is not enough, and that there is a need for more specialized services. And this is true not only for services, but also for computerized systems. We are living in an age of hyper-specialization. We are in Enersize specializing on measuring, analyzing, and modeling compressed air systems. But of course, we also need to make sure we can communicate with other systems, as we are providing such a specialized service. We are now developing the next generation of the compressed air services in the cloud. So let's look at how the system is designed. We have the sensors and IoT solution on the shop floor, and they communicate through a standardized application protocol interface, an API, to Enersize compressed air services in the cloud. Data is handled by an event-driven architecture where microservices are subscribing and publishing more and more refined data and KPIs. The users interact with the cloud through devices that connect to REST APIs. The data API, it's important to allow other software services to analyze data or to subscribe to results. But not only can we work with other compressed air experts, such as Elvira that we were talking to earlier in this webinar, but also to standardized IT solutions such as enterprise asset management systems or maintenance systems. As the services we develop are quite specialized, there's also an expectation that we can deliver and explain the value of what we deliver. What kind of value can the customer expect? This is a development not specific for Enersize, and we see a future where service companies in general sell results rather than subscriptions. And in line with this, we at Enersize have decided to go into a profit-based method. You pay a fraction of the benefit after we have it delivered and measured. The pricing model we have developed is, as I said, benefit-based, and it's built on a 3-year agreement. Enersize will cover all upfront investments in software and hardware needed to gather data for identifying and addressing energy optimization potentials in the compressed air system. Enersize will, as part of the optimization, also cover the cost for doing leakage surveys and repair, including the components that are motivated to repair or exchange. There is no hidden risk. There is only an upside for the customer, as we are so confident in our ability to identify and address potential energy savings in the plant. Enersize and our partners use the 3-step implementation model to establish the original energy baseline, and from this starting point, establishing a fast track to value by delivering energy savings. On a quarterly basis, the customer is being invoiced 50% of the energy savings delivered compared to the original energy baseline, creating a mutual incentive to identify the best possible energy optimization of the compressed air system. So before we end the session, I'd like you to hand back to Rebecca, because I know you are looking for customer engagement. Rebecca?
Thanks, Anders. Yes, in that sense, I would like to invite you all to check our lab release website and give us feedback, because we are always open to receive feedback from the users at every stage. That's one of the primary objectives of the lab release launch. So you can go out and check the lab release if you go to lab.energize.com. And if you want to test our products or become an early adopter, if you want to just give feedback or know more about the Sigma IoT solution that Anders has been talking before, you can write to our early adopter email, and we will provide you information to move forward with that. That's all for the R&D for this time. Many thanks, and I'll hand over to you, Anders.
Thank you very much for this update, Anders. Thank you, Rebecca. It's exciting to see what is being built and also to understand how important Enersize see the engagement from customers and partners in the development work. I guess that is the key to success. I will now look at some of the tools and activities available to increase an interest for energy optimization of industrial compressed air. And the first area I want to highlight is the Enersize web. This is a truly great resource for learning. And my favorite area in the Enersize web is the boot camp. Here you can learn about compressed air, and when you feel ready for it, you can take a quiz and test your skills and get your result and maybe a diploma. And talking about skills, I will now hand over to Johannes Olsson, who is heading up our Enersize Academy. And today is a big day, isn't it, Johannes?
Yes, absolutely, Anders.
So what are we celebrating here today?
Yes, well, we are very happy to announce that we have the version 1 of Enersize Academy ready and up and running in our online learning platform.
Wow! So that means we are launching Enersize Academy for the first generation. Perfect. So let's go into the academy. Can you guide us, please?
Yes, no problem. Thank you, Anders. So let's take a look at what we have accomplished so far. So the Enersize Academy is now complete version 1, and it's ready for anyone who wants to learn more about compressed air in the industry. So if you're a technician that will work hands-on with leakage management and compressed air system optimization, this is for you. We have created 11 courses containing 50 lessons with over 4 hours of video material. So this combined with integrated quizzes between lessons, practical training on site, final exams and certifications, we can now deliver a very immersive education for the X-ray and execute systems. So what does this mean? It means that our students will learn about general compressed air use, how to find and repair leaks, and finally, how to measure both the supply and demand side of the compressed air system in a factory of any size. So our training material is for both technicians in the field, but also for anyone who wants to learn more about general compressed air use and how it's used as an energy source and how to work with it in the industry. So all you have to do is to contact me or anyone at Enersize to help you get started. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Johannes. What a great experience. I am so happy that we finally have Enersize Academy up and running, live and kicking, online for self-service in the cloud. Thank you, Johannes. Great work. If you have an interest in these topics, you should, of course, sign up to our newsletter. The most recent newsletter just came out last week. And our next newsletter will be released on the 19th of April. Last time we did mention the Share Your Story community as part of Enersize Collaboration Lab. And as you could see in Rebecca's presentation, we continue developing a customer and partner portal to be of use for different user personas, making the project work and the data exchange between different parties more efficient. With this, I want to thank you all for taking part in this webinar. The next webinar is planned for the 21st and 22nd of June. And until then, stay safe and have a wonderful life. Bye.